The invisible powerhouse? Why women over 50 are the secret weapon your organization is ignoring. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft and loving every second of it. Today, I had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Carla Carey, a trailblazer who has excelled across multiple industries, including entertainment sales, federal contracting, private wealth advisory, and high end real estate. Carla is a force, a disruptor, someone who is making the world a better place by challenging the narratives that have kept women over 50 invisible, undervalued, and overlooked. Her insights are not just eye opening, they are world changing. And I'm here to share them with you in a way that will shift how you see power, experience, and the untapped brilliance sitting right in front of you. Let's start with a truth that's going to make some people uncomfortable. Women over 50 consistently outperform expectations and deliver exceptional results across industries. Yet their contributions are systematically undervalued and overlooked due to persistent age and gender biases. These women bring decades of experience, resilience, and adaptability, assets that drive innovation and success, especially in complex fields like entertainment sales, federal contracting, private wealth advisory, and high end real estate. The data shows their impact is not only measurable, but essential to organizational growth and economic progress. And yet, we continue to push them out, overlook them, and underestimate them. Why is that? Why do we live in a world where the most experienced, most capable, most strategic leaders are being shown the door just as they're hitting their stride? Why are we so obsessed with youth that we've convinced ourselves experience is a liability instead of the competitive advantage it actually is? Carla shared something with me during our conversation that stopped me in my tracks. She said that the world has taught women, especially Black women, to survive, not to thrive. We've been conditioned to wear the cape, to carry everyone, to prove ourselves over and over again. But what happens when we finally decide to put that cape down? What happens when we choose softness, boundaries, and rest? What happens when we stop apologizing for taking up space and start demanding the recognition we deserve? That's the question at the heart of today's talk. How are we learning to be soft in a world that taught us survival? And more importantly, how do we create space for women over 50 to not just survive, but to absolutely dominate in their fields, to lead with wisdom, and to be celebrated for the powerhouses they are? Let me share three key insights from my interview with Carla Carey that will change the way you think about experience, bias, and performance. First, experience is a competitive advantage. Women over 50 leverage deep industry knowledge and networks to consistently outperform, shattering stereotypes about productivity and innovation in later career stages. Let me give you a real example that will blow your mind. ARP conducted research that highlights how companies that actively recruit and retain women over 50 see measurable gains in productivity and innovation. But here's the backstory that makes this even more powerful. These companies were facing a rapidly aging workforce. HR leaders were panicking because they realized that losing seasoned women meant losing institutional knowledge and client trust. They were hemorrhaging talent, and it was costing them millions. So, what did they do? Companies like Atant and Marriott International implemented mentorship programs and flexible work policies targeting experienced female professionals. They stopped treating women over 50 like they were on their way out and started treating them like the assets they are. The results? Absolutely stunning. ATANTs, Women of a Tan initiative, saw a 20% increase in promotion rates For women over 50, 20%. Marriott's flexible scheduling led to a 15% drop in turnover among experienced female staff. These organizations reported increased retention, improved team performance, and higher client satisfaction rates. Think about that for a moment. A 20% increase in promotions, a 15% drop in turnover. These are not small numbers. These are game changing metrics that prove what Carla has been saying all along. Women over 50 are not winding down, they are leveling up. They are not less productive, they are more strategic. They are not outdated, they are invaluable. But here's the kicker: most organizations are still operating under the assumption that youth equals innovation and that experience equals obsolescence. That's not just wrong, it's costly. It's costing you talent, it's costing you innovation, it's costing you money, and it's costing these women the recognition they deserve. And that brings me to the second insight from Carla's interview: biases cost everyone. Age and gender biases result in missed opportunities for organizations and the broader economy, especially as women exit the workforce at alarming rates despite their proven value. Let me tell you about something that Catalyst uncovered in their research on Black women executives breaking barriers. They spotlighted Black women over 50 who have risen to executive roles in Fortune 500 companies despite systemic barriers. And when I say systemic, I mean deep, entrenched, suffocating barriers. These leaders faced racial and age discrimination. They lacked visible role models. They were excluded from key networks. Many of them began their careers in entry level roles, facing what researchers call double jeopardy bias, discrimination based on both race and age. But they persevered. They found mentors. They made strategic career moves. They refused to be invisible. And when companies finally woke up and implemented targeted leadership development, sponsorship, and visibility initiatives, including employee resource groups focused on Black women, the outcomes were undeniable. Companies saw increased innovation, improved financial performance, greater employee engagement when Black women over 50 were in leadership. The research highlights leaders like Rosalind Brewer, who became CEO of Walgreens and drove major transformations that outperformed industry benchmarks. These trailblazers inspired policy changes and more inclusive talent pipelines across sectors. But here's what we need to understand, and I need you to really hear this. For every Rosalind Baroy Brewer who breaks through, there are thousands of women over 50 who are being pushed out, overlooked, or forced into early retirement because organizations refuse to see their value. This is not just a women's issue. This is an economic issue. This is a leadership issue. This is a cultural issue. When we lose women over 50 from the workforce, we lose institutional knowledge. We lose client trust. We lose mentorship. We lose innovation. We are literally throwing away billions of dollars in talent and expertise because we are too busy chasing the myth of youth. And let me be clear, this myth is killing us. It's killing our organizations, it's killing our economy, and it's killing the spirits of women who have spent decades building, leading, and delivering results only to be told they're no longer needed. And that's where the third insight from Carla comes in: flexibility unlocks performance. When organizations offer flexible, individualized work arrangements, women over 50 excel even more, demonstrating higher productivity and engagement, particularly when they are trusted to manage their time and deliver results. Harvard Business Review analyzed technology firms and found something that should make every leader sit up and pay attention. Teams with women over 50 outperform younger, homogenous teams on complex projects. Let me say that again. Teams with women over 50 outperform younger teams on complex projects. Now, tech has this youth culture problem. It's obsessed with the 25-year-old genius in a hoodie. And that obsession led to the underrepresentation of older women. Many were pushed out or overlooked for promotions. But the firms that were smart enough to implement reverse mentoring, flexible work, and skills refresher programs to retain and empower senior women, they saw incredible results. Teams led by women over 50 delivered projects 30% faster and with fewer errors, according to internal metrics. A 30% faster. Let that sink in for a moment. These women didn't just meet expectations, they crushed them. They led award winning product launches. They mentored the next generation of diverse talent, and their success influenced broader tech industry hiring and retention practices, setting new standards for age and gender inclusion. But here's what Carla emphasized during our interview, and this is critical. Flexibility is not a perk, it's a performance strategy. When you trust women over 50 to manage their time, to set their boundaries, to work in ways that honor their lives and their expertise, they don't just meet expectations, they exceed them. This is what the soft girl era is all about. It's about releasing the cape, redefining strength, embracing softness as a radical act of self love. It's about saying no without guilt, setting boundaries without apology, and resting without explanation. And it's about recognizing that the women who have spent decades in survival mode, who have led teams, raised families, held down households, and carried communities deserve to be celebrated, supported, and compensated for their brilliance. So, what happens if more people and organizations adopt this perspective? If more organizations recognize and leverage the strengths of women over 50, we would see measurable gains in productivity, innovation, and profitability across industries. The economy would benefit from the retention of highly skilled leaders. Organizations would build more resilient, diverse teams. This shift would also help close persistent gender and age gaps in income and leadership, driving broader social and economic progress. But it's not just about the numbers, it's about the culture. It's about creating workplaces where women over 50 are not just tolerated, but celebrated. It's about building systems that honor experience, that value wisdom, and that recognize that the best leaders are often the ones who have lived, learned, and led through decades of change. It's about understanding that when a woman over 50 walks into a room, she's not bringing just her resume. She's bringing decades of lessons learned, crises navigated, relationships built, and results delivered. She's bringing a depth of understanding that you cannot teach in a seminar or download from a webinar. She is the competitive advantage you've been looking for. And if you can't see that, the problem isn't her. The problem is you. Now, I want to challenge you. Carla left me with one challenge, and I'm passing it on to you. Challenge your assumptions. After listening to this, I want every one of you to actively seek out and support women over 50 in your networks or organizations. Advocate for their advancement, offer mentorship, give them the recognition they deserve. Make it your mission this month to amplify the voice or work of a woman over 50 in your professional sphere. This is not a small ask. This is a call to action. This is a demand for change because the truth is, we cannot afford to keep losing these women. We cannot afford to keep undervaluing their contributions. We cannot afford to keep perpetuating the bias that cost us innovation, leadership, and economic progress. Women over 50 are not a demographic to be managed, they are a powerhouse to be unleashed. They are not winding down. They are just getting started. And if we are smart, if we are strategic, if we are willing to challenge the status quo, we will stop overlooking them and start celebrating them. So here's my final word. To every woman over 50 who might be listening to this, I need you to hear me clearly. You are not too old. You are not too much. You are not past your prime. You are in your power. You are in your purpose. And you deserve every bit of recognition, respect, and rest that comes with it. Drop the cape, set the boundary, embrace the softness, and watch how the world shifts when you finally choose yourself. To every leader, every hiring manager, every CEO listening to this, I have a question for you. How many brilliant women over 50 have you overlooked this year? How many resumes did you pass over because you assumed they wouldn't fit your culture or keep up with the pace? How many conversations did you avoid because you were uncomfortable with their confidence or their salary expectations? And here's the harder question: how much has that cost you? How much innovation did you miss? How much institutional knowledge walked out the door? How many clients did you lose because you didn't have someone with the wisdom and experience to navigate complexity? The data is clear. The evidence is overwhelming. Women over 50 outperform, they deliver, they lead, they innovate. The only question left is this: are you ready to see them? Are you ready to invest in them, celebrate them, and build organizations that recognize their value? Because if you're not, someone else will. And they'll be the ones reaping the rewards while you're left wondering why you can't retain talent, why your culture feels stagnant, and why your competitors are outpacing you. The choice is yours. But I'm telling you right now, the future belongs to the organizations that understand this truth. Experience is not a liability, it is the ultimate competitive advantage. And women over 50, they are the secret weapon you've been ignoring for far too long. It's time to stop ignoring them. It's time to start celebrating them. It's time to recognize that the most powerful leaders in your organization might just be the ones you've been overlooking. So go out there and find them, amplify them, invest in them, and watch what happens when you finally give them the platform they deserve. Because when women over 50 are empowered, everyone wins.